That's a pretty good time to come in. Hello. How are we, guys? Welcome, welcome. We are at episode 1 of the Spread Talk Show. Let me just unmute my boys here. You guys can say hello. I've got KB
Hello.
here and Unbound.
Hello. We are on the spread.
That's right, we made it.
We've made it.
We made it. We made the big time.
We did it, Reddit. The full circle. The full circle.
So this is episode 1, just to give you guys a quick idea of what this is all about. It's pretty casual. We're just here to talk about our thoughts on ANZ esports and on Twitch and streaming communities in general, just everything with our region. So every week we're going to go through and just look at the big stories, and even some of the small stories, and just see what happened. And we'll have some guests, we'll have some regulars on the show, and we're just going to chat pretty much. We'll take some questions from the chat, or just chill and just see what kind of tangents we get on. Try not to get into too much trouble. And yeah, hopefully you guys like it. And yeah, we
should be
see
enjoyable.
how it goes. So to start off, I'll just get my friends here to introduce each other and just let everyone know who they are, and short little history about their experience in ANZ and streaming and esports, and so you guys get to know them. So KB, do you want to go first?
Yeah. G'day. I'm KB. I'm a ANZ streamer for the Jam affiliate team. I predominantly spent a lot of time playing Halo back in the day. and sort of that's where my main focus is, around the Halo esports type. Yeah, but hoping to expand that into more areas and further develop that. But yeah, that's me.
And Unbound?
So hi, I'm Josh. I'm the junior marketing manager for Jam. I sort of dabble a little bit in esports all over the scene. I kind of dipped into freelance journalism a little while ago. I've kind of been a writer, a manager, a player. I've been a little bit of everything. I'm predominantly coming from the Rocket League scene, and I'm just here to showcase and share the wonderful things about the ANZ esports community, and keep everybody up to date on all the crazy things that happen in our scene, because I feel like a lot of it goes slightly overlooked.
Yeah,
but it's going to be great keeping everybody up to date.
I mean, we met through Rocket League, didn't we, Josh?
We did, yeah. We met through Rocket League, and I've been involved with Jeff for a while now. Going back from just watching you guys and like being like, wow, it's like a little starstruck, to writing the whole Rocket League history of Jam sort of piece that I did a long time ago, and now being an actual manager for you guys. It's a little like come full circle a little bit. It's a little hard. What's the word?
Humbling.
Like, humbling. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's right.
A bit about me, I guess, if you don't know, I'm Chris. I'm the owner of Jam. We've been running this for 3.5 years. Yeah, we started off with, well, our main focus is always esports, but we've branched out into a lot of different areas over the years. So we've worked on some education programs. We've been to events. We have a live stream team at the moment. We've had teams in Counter-Strike, in Rocket League, in Quake, in fighting games, Fortnite, PUBG, like basically everything. And Overwatch as well was a big one for us. And yeah, so I mean, I've been around ANZ Esports, for 3 to 4 years now. But I've been an esports fan for almost 20 years. I was playing CS 1.6 and Dave Defeat and the old Quake when Fatality was the biggest name in the world. So yeah, I'm a bit of an old timer, but really enjoying the ANZ scene, and that's what I do day in, day out now. So I guess we can start off with what happened this week. So we'll go through, I guess, some of the things that happened in the Twitch community first, and then later on we'll talk about ANZ Esports and what's happening over there. So a lot of stuff happened this week.
A lot of stuff,
yeah.
A lot of stuff has kind of popped up, especially. It's just stuff that we were expecting, but not really stuff that we were expecting just yet.
Yeah, it felt like it was going to be a slow week, and then all of a sudden every day I'm like, oh my god, this has happened. So I mean, the first one I think was the PAX dates that were announced.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up
like that started everything, really.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring up the tweet here.
Well, the thing that is especially exciting about the whole PAX dates is they kind of stick around the same weekend every single year, and they've actually pushed it back. I think back a few weeks.
Yeah, it's earlier this year.
Yeah, it's normally early November, and now it's October school holidays or something this time around, isn't it?
They're trying to push. I feel like the whole behind, like, there was a little bit of a talk, that I saw, like just throughout the comments and stuff of that kind of post, which was people were saying that the dates are being pushed closer towards the center of the year to try and symbolize sort of a gaming cultural movement towards like a more centralized part of the year.
Okay, because usually the EB Expo is around October as well sometime, like usually the first or second weekend in October. So that, I guess that makes a lot of sense.
They combined them last year. So last year was the first year that they had EB and PAX combined, but it was more like EB just had a giant section of PAX that was theirs. So they basically don't really have an expo anymore. They just lumped in. Yeah,
EB Expo's sort of gone under just a little bit, and now they've kind of come together with PAX, and I feel like the whole
that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like the whole push towards bringing the dates closer and closer. I think ultimately, obviously, I feel like the end game is to line up something with this whole gaming cultural movement that's coming through. Everybody is sort of like starting to really approach esports, approach gaming in a different light. You know, people are starting to grow up and be like, okay, well, video games, yes, there's a degree of it which you kind of want to be wary about with kids, but you also want to be like welcoming of everybody, because it's sort of an environment that everybody can be a part of. So I feel like everybody is kind of pushing the dates a little forward, trying a little bit to get closer to those family times, like school holidays or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that they
So-
line up a little better.
Apparently, there's a Melbourne International Games Week on the 5th to 13th of October. That's what the Monkey Boy said. I haven't heard that, so let me try and Google it.
I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
But yeah, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
PAX is sort of like a massive Melbourne convention, which is everything gaming. It's new
definitely
games,
the best
indie
convention
games.
of the year. Like, if you have
Oh, absolutely.
if you could only choose one, you would choose PAX. I think everyone
Yeah.
would
Oh,
agree on that.
100%.
I guess for us, it's everything combined. Like it's our mini TwitchCon. It's PAX, all of
Yeah.
PAX of what the US get for us, and
Yeah.
it's all of it combined because it's where the streaming community, it's where everyone can go and hang out and socialize together and that, and it's good. Like
It is good.
really really good. Yeah.
It's very refreshing, especially to see. Like as Chris said earlier, it's definitely the convention of the year, like for gamers,
just
especially in the
massive.
ANZ scene. It is huge. It takes up the entire Melbourne Convention Centre, which is not a small building by
No,
any
it's
means.
not.
It's huge, and the amount of people that go there every single year. I think I've gone every year for nearly 4 years now, and it is a crazy experience. Like it's all things gaming. I'm not joking.
I was
It's
speaking to Dan Natoli, who works for PAX now. He used to work for Zowie, BenQ, and I spoke
Yeah.
to him at the Twitch Sydney meetup a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that they have like 3 separate convention type things, all leading up to PAX, like week after week after week.
yeah.
And I don't remember what they were. But yeah, so it's a busy time of year for them. And yeah, it is interesting how that they made the dates earlier. So maybe it is to line up with the Melbourne International Games week, or like you said, Unbound, just to line up with school holidays a bit more. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just a scheduling thing with the venue.
Could be.
But yeah, it'd be good.
Could definitely be just a scheduling thing. I mean, it all just kind of depends. I'm just throwing things to the wind at this point. Just kind of, what are the reasons? Because they try not to change dates too often, but it seems to change around the same month's difference every year. So I don't know. It was just something to think about.
Definitely.
Oh.
So what else happened? So another massive thing, which was such a big shock, was the Level Infinity LAN cafe closing down.
That one was a sad one.
Happened a couple of days ago, and I feel like we could talk about this for a while. Did either of you go there?
No.
No.
Okay, so I've been there. It was definitely the best kitted out cafe in Australia from what I've seen. They had like all the top gear. They had pretty much 3 floors. They had their own gym. Like they just spared no expense, which I think is part of the reason why it went under. So I'm just gonna bring the tweet here.
I've never actually been there, but I've had friends that have been there, friends that have gone there for like practices before events. Level's the one in Melbourne, right?
Yeah. So
yeah. See, before I remember hearing about them a little while ago because the big Rocket League tournament that happened at PAX, not last year, but the year before, I think. I had all of the friends that were actually playing. I think it was the year that Jam was actually representing a team in the final 4 of the PAX tournament, and I remember I didn't go with them, but a whole heap of friends went to Level to practice, like to get all of their like nerves out of the way, to try and warm up, get some scrims going before all the tournament stuff had actually started. So it's kind of crazy to see that they, out of nowhere too, from the sounds of it, kind of just shut down.
Yeah, I'll make this video bigger. It's pretty good. I'll give you guys an idea of what it looks like. So, they got LED lights everywhere. Like, they kitted it out with all these nice gaming chairs. Like, they had streamer rooms. So this is one of the streamer rooms.
Yeah.
So it has 3 curved monitors. It was an entire room dedicated to like so streamers who come in and stream.
Yeah.
They had 2 of those, I think. And then this is like a bar that they had, like a bubble tea bar.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll see if there's any
I mean,
more.
it sounds like it was definitely massively decked out.
It was kitted out, So immediately after they closed down, like the social media guys and the guys that were just kind of employees were on the Level Infinity Discord and kind of spilling a bit of the goss. And I went on there because I wanted to know like what happened. So I do have a bit of information which hasn't been publicly released, but people I guess it was kind of assumed. So and I tweeted a couple of screenshots from this, so it's on my Twitter.
Yeah.
But
Just the ones that were in the Discord.
what they said was that basically it was financial trouble. There weren't enough people going there to cover the costs, and that was due to mismanagement was what was the word that was used. So, and
Wow.
yeah, a couple of employees were in
Wow.
Discord and just talking about what happened. Nothing too, they didn't go into too many details, but the gist that I got was that the head owner had like his idea of how it was supposed to be run, and everyone else didn't agree with it, and then that created a lot of conflict. And it turns out that the costs that they put into, which is massive, and like they were even saying that when they were building it, they went to like JB Hi-Fi and ordered 30 keyboards, like just from JB, which
Jesus.
is all like marked up a lot. So like you think that if you're gonna open a place like this, you'd probably want to contact like some companies maybe and see if you can get like even a bulk discount or like 10% or something.
Yeah, or like not a sponsorship, but like some sort of partnership,
agreement
or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're going to be spending that kind of amount, that amount of money on 30 keyboards, you may as well find somebody, put that little bit of extra work in, and save yourself probably hundreds of dollars. It is crazy.
Yeah, and like apparently they were overpaying on everything. And the guy who runs the socials, he was the first one that came in that actually knew the esports scene. That's this guy here, Finlay, or it might have been the other one. Oh, Lockie, it was Lockie, yeah. So yeah, they really kind of just, I think, went balls deep without really knowing what they were getting into, and costs were obviously way too high, and probably had an incorrect idea of how many people were actually going to show. Like they were open 24/7, which is
Jesus.
Like a lot of places do that, which is interesting.
That's a bit much.
A lot of places in Sydney.
Where were they? Like, there's a few factors that would go into it. Like, where were they located?
They're in the middle of Melbourne.
See, so is MCNet, and MCNet has a massive credibility, and I have friends that go there on whims. Like that's something to think about. How many people were going there just for the sake of going there to play in an internet cafe?
Yeah.
A lot of especially PC gaming, because you're not going to go to a LAN cafe and find PS4s all over the place.
No.
Especially PC gaming nowadays, it's become very introverted. It's kind of moved towards doing it at home, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because like connections at home are way better than they used to be. Like back in the day, everyone that didn't have cable, which is like 90% of the population, would go and play at a cafe. Like I was lucky that I had cable pretty young, so I had a good computer at home, good internet. But I still went to cafes just to play with my mates because none of them had good PCs or had good internet. So I used to go like every weekend.
And the times have changed from that now.
Yeah, but now like everyone's got pretty good internet. Like the computers are pretty good for if you're a serious gamer. So it definitely cuts into that net cafe, like LAN cafe model, but it's still
like how viable are they nowadays?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah,
but
they seem to be trailing off a little bit. Like I'm not going on the whole tangent of level shutting down as like a direct correlation to it, but they have definitely been trailing off for a while. People are getting sick and tired of spending money to use something that they've got a better version of at home. So
I think it's like if you're going to open it, you have to have tournaments. Like you have to have a reason people to go.
And you need to stick yourself out of the mud, essentially.
Yeah, and
you
Infinity
need to kind
did
of
that
push
though.
yourself out.
Infinity, when they launched, had really good marketing. They had really nicely done videos. Their social media team was on point. Like they kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden were the best LAN cafe in Melbourne within a week, in my opinion. Just the way that they interacted with the community, and they had tournaments there. They had CS, they had Fortnite. Like they had a lot of good ideas, but I guess it really wasn't enough to overcome, the management issues.
Yeah,
whoever was running it just had no vision for it, and it just paid the price.
I feel like
price.
I mean, I can't speak for him, but I feel like it was more along the lines of he had this idea a long time ago, and he probably got to that idea. Like he probably saw the goal and was like, I'm going to make Level Infinity Cafe. And he's probably made it to the point where he was actually happy with it. But now I feel like the problem was where to go from there. It was sort of where to move the Level Infinity to, what kind of upgrades they want to do, what kind of new ideas they wanted to do. And all of it kind of, I feel like all the management, I mean, I can't speak factually, but this is my personal take on it. I feel like all the management sort of tried to come together, but didn't really come together, and everybody wanted to do their own separate. Like they had an idea for each other. There was like, I want to do this, and it just didn't work out that way. So I feel like that's probably the best option. But that being said, I can't think of any reason why you've got this decked out massive cafe that's 3 floors, like 3 stories tall, got thousands of dollars worth of computer parts. Why just call it quits? Like there has to be a reason. There has to be a deeper reason than just.
Well, yeah, you can only run in the red so much. Like they've got rent, they've got all this, and yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of money to pour into something, but yeah, he probably just hit the limit. But yeah, apparently they're looking to sell like PCs and.
Okay.
Well, that's what. So Canberra's LAN cafe here, the Barracks, it just shut down. It's been here for probably 15, 20 years.
Jeez.
But the reason why it shut down is because the owner owns Reload, the games bar here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's closed it down to expand it to make it Reload into
relocate.
Yeah, so
like a bar plus cafe.
Well, yeah, he already has probably about 15 or 20 PCs in Reload, as well as the consoles and that. So they do run tournaments in there and everything. But I guess it's more cost effective to tear the business down and then reopen it as part of Reload.
Yeah.
And they had a massive sale as well, and were just selling everything, like all their gear, because they were just getting new stuff in, and it was just marked down to nothing. And I missed it. I wish I had it gone, but I missed it.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
See, that's one thing that Sorry.
It's alright.
I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people probably want to keep a little bit of an eye on, especially around Level. Just for the people that are watching, they're probably going to be looking to sell their stuff.
Yeah,
just to try and make a little bit of that money back, just to try and pull themselves a little closer to out of the red as they can. So keep an eye on their Twitter. They'll probably announce something close to them actually selling stuff.
Well, I saw people in Discord literally like an hour after the announcement already seeing if they could buy stuff. So
yeah,
it's definitely.
What else are they going to do with it? You know, if they're shutting down, not like they're going to just keep the building and just you know, keep the computers in there. Just we might open up one day. Who knows? We'll see. Keep your eyes closed.
Yeah, I think Shaky Skeleton in chat makes a really good point. He said the community aspect needs to be the champion if it's going to work. It's
100%.
totally true. These days, I
commercial.
think the LAN cafe is more about community and like going to catch up with your mates and playing in more of a social setting. You know, in somewhere where you can also like go and have a drink after or. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So you need like. And Infinity did this well. Like they definitely had the right ideas. I think it was just they kind of went too big. I also heard from when I went in Discord after they closed down that the guys had some crazy plans. Like they had a 5-level building that they were renting out. They were going to have like a fully decked out tournament set up on one level, a gym on one level, like a streamer section on one level. Like this is like in 7 figures they were going to put into, or hopefully they were looking to invest into this thing.
You really got to hope the return is like on.
Yeah, that's it. Like, how are you going to make that kind of money out of that building? Like, it doesn't seem financially viable
you
at
couldn't.
all.
Like, you would have to rent out everything at such a markup for it to be viable. Like, it's just.
And especially when you have no experience, like if you're the owner and he just had no experience, no contacts in esports or gaming, like it's more plausible if someone who's really well known wants to do that because he's got all the contacts with suppliers, with teams, so he can get a lot of the stuff cheaper. He can get like the biggest teams in there to train and so like that's more viable. But if some random guy like wants to do that, it just seems like you're just flushing money down the toilet.
Yeah, and that's why like it's a wonder marketing or social media didn't like. I don't know how much pull they had, but surely they would have had contacts or something like that. You'd think that they would have been able to pull something maybe together to
yeah.
help
I mean,
with
I did hear that like the social media team weren't actually getting paid. They were doing that just off their own
Oh.
backs. So
Oh,
like
right.
the people that actually work there were obviously getting paid, but the guys that run the Twitter and all that were just volunteers.
Damn,
So that's
that's dangerous.
I mean, like they kind of created their own little community,
Yeah.
with Level Infinity, which is why they were happy to do that. Like I know the Discord also was a community thing. The Level Infinity Discord was something set up by the staff, like the owner's not even in the Discord. So like
Interesting.
they were definitely on the right. I think they had the right ideas, but they just execution I don't think worked out. Anyway,
I mean, good ideas. Yeah, just
Yeah.
a little too much. I feel like just too many things that could have gone wrong just went wrong.
yeah. Anything else
Yeah.
we need to touch on there? I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
And yeah, Shaky's right. Like for the big streamers, like partner streamers and things like that, it would have been a good if it had been marketed well. And
Yeah,
instead,
exactly.
if they want to take a holiday, they can, and if they're worried about their community, they can still catch up with their community while they're away.
Yeah,
But,
and
yeah.
I remember that Level Infinity actually did some marketing with some streamers when they were opening up.
Just wasn't enough.
Natasha, do you guys know Natasha? She's a CSGO
Natasha.
player. She's a CSGO streamer and player, and she was there along with another CSGO streamer. I forget her name. She's Taz's girlfriend. Probably you guys probably don't know because you don't into CSGO.
Nope. This blank look on my face says it all.
Anyway, they got two streamers, and these are pretty decent sized streamers. So they would have paid them for sure to go to Level Infinity to do some marketing, and they were, obviously using stream rooms and everything. So yeah, I think they had some really good ideas, but just didn't work out.
Yeah,
Let's
sounds like.
move on
I mean,
from that.
yeah.
So another thing that I saw, which was really interesting to me, was this Bethesda collaboration that was announced. Let me just pull it
Okay.
up on.
Oh, the whole Rage 2 thing.
Yeah. So I thought this was really interesting because I've never seen something like this. I mean, I don't think globally. So Bethesda announced, this was on the 11th of March, that they're doing what are they doing? They're going to the Surf Pro at Manly Beach, going for an early hands-on of Rage 2 at the Hotel Stein? How do you say I pronounce
Stein.
that?
Or
Stein.
Hotel
From
Stein.
March 21
Stein.
24.
Stein.
So that's really
Stein.
cool.
Stein.
Like,
That is actually really cool.
there's
Especially.
a Surf Pro event, and they're going to be doing gaming there. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, question though. I mean, I don't think we'll have the actual answer, but do you think it's going to be a full playthrough or just like a demo, like player? Just a little bit of a touch on Rage 2?
Probably.
I mean,
just
it doesn't
demo,
matter.
but-
Yeah.
But I personally am not extremely excited about Rage 2. I mean, I played Rage 1 and it was great, but from what I've seen about Rage 2, I think it's going to require me having a pretty in-depth kind of look at the game before I actually go out and buy it.
I would probably be inclined to say that this is Bethesda's redeeming for their last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Oh, right,
probably
yeah.
the exact same thing.
Well,
it's a bit of a redeemer.
I'm a big fan
Them
of
throwing their
Bethesda's
neck out,
marketing team.
for
I
sure.
think the Bethesda's Australian marketing team, Kelsey and her crew, have been killing it lately. Like when they launched the Bethesda Twitter, really good ideas, a lot of engagement, and this is a really unique idea that I think, regardless of whether the game's good or whether the demo is good, or it doesn't really matter. What I love about this is that they're thinking outside the box and they're combining like two things that you don't really think would go together, but looking at different audiences.
I guess it's fitting for Rage, like because it is that sort of post like apocalyptic punk type thing, and I guess sort of with the surfing aspect, so it's clever, like it's really good.
Definitely, like the demographics still very similar, like so yeah,
It's
I
a very
love
interesting
this.
concept, for
I think
sure.
it's a really cool idea from them.
It's
and
a
I'm
massive
a big fan
different
of
take.
the guys over at Bethesda in general, so I do like they started focusing on their Twitter. Like I sound like a Bethesda fanboy, and I honestly I'm not really. I'm just a fan of their marketing team.
Their marketing team does crazy work.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of their
that's
stuff.
Kelsey there. She's one of the marketing managers, and so
they do crazy work. Like I gotta give Bethesda credit where credit's due. They are a crazily progressive company. They are on top of stuff. Very. quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, despite maybe some of the games not being
not exactly
up to
brilliant.
scratch, but Yeah,
That's
still trying.
out of their hands. That's out of their hands.
Once they make it, the only thing they can really do is make it better. So,
Yeah.
you know, at the
Yeah,
end
so
of the
that'll be
day, it's all
cool.
about
I'm
them.
interested to see how that turns out in a couple of days.
Yeah,
Next
exactly.
week, I
I
think
mean,
it was.
personally, I'm not 100% certain how the whole surfing experience is going to come into it. Like, I feel like people are either going to play the video game or surf. But I mean, if they're there for the whole point of being there to support the Bethesda and Rage, I mean, I can't really fault that. I can't really stick my nose in and say, no, you need to do this better. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
I think it's a good thing. Like it's bringing gaming more mainstream into like the public eye. That's it does get a bad
Yeah.
rap at times with certain things. So it's good. Like it's good exposure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
more that they can do it like authentically, with audiences that you wouldn't necessarily think are gamers. Like surfing, you'd think that those guys are just out, out in the sun every
Surfing.
day. They're not really gonna sit at home on the couch or have a PC. But if those guys, if you can take pictures of like surf pros playing Rage 2, that's really great
That's
marketing.
massive marketing.
Yeah.
And especially if they're on board to like help promote that too. That is just an immense step
Even
forward.
if they just rock up and just say, well, "What's this?" and you just snap a photo, like that's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah,
Like if you can if you could cop like a free like retweet or something out of them, if you go up to them and be like, "Hey, look, we got this photo. It's a really nice photo. Would you mind retweeting it on Twitter?" If they even just retweet or quote tweet that, that's marketing in your hands for free. So
and you can't buy that publicity. Like
no, exactly. It's their influence is crazy, especially surfers. If it's nice, especially to see the two endemics, or like essentially Bethesda taking two endemics that are not really related and don't really have any correlation in esports right now, and just throwing them together and saying we're trying to stick our nose out and do something great for this game and introduce it to new people that otherwise probably would never have heard of it.
Yeah,
like they're doing great things.
There's a lot more of that that's happening in general in esports globally. And I think Australia and New Zealand are even sometimes behind the curve a bit with companies willing to take risks. To get into the gaming and esports scene. But it's happening more and more, and we'll talk about all those announcements as they come out, over the next few months on this show for sure, because that's something that's really important to the growth of esports, and Twitch and just gaming in general, is to have a lot more mainstream acceptance, which has been getting more and more better over the last 2 years particularly. But yeah, I think that like in the US, you've seen recently a lot of car brands start sponsoring esports events and teams.
Yeah.
One
So that's
in
the latest
particular,
one there.
the one that I was extremely happy with in regards to that in particular was BMW sponsoring Cloud9.
Yes.
That was a massive thing. When I saw that pop up on my Twitter thing, my little Twitter feed, I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, that's cool, and there's so many cool ideas you can do with that.
Like you've made it then when BMWs.
You can get your
when
own,
you can
like,
go up to
skinned
BMW,
car.
just imagine the audacity to go up to the guys at BMW and be like, "I play video games, give me money," and then them turning around and being like,
"Okay,
all right, yeah, let's do it."
Yeah,
well,
why not?
Blows my
smart.
mind.
Yeah, it's smart. Like
It just
the
blows
guys that they're looking at, like the millennial age bracket, between 17 to 25 or give or take. They're the ones that right now aren't looking to buy BMWs, but you're trying to implant the seed that this is the brand you want to follow. Like if you're a Cloud9 fan, you're going to be a BMW fan. Then in 10 years' time, when you've got the money to buy BMW, you're like, well, I love BMWs because I have since I follow Cloud9. There you go. Like,
yeah.
You really like that kind of affiliation heritage kind of even goes even deeper than that, because if you're a really big, like massive C9 fan and you saw that BMW started sponsoring them and you're like, I can't afford to get a BMW now, but I'm going to make it my goal in 10 years time, I'd say there's a solid 60% chance you're going to get that whole car just C9 styled.
Yeah.
Just because it's like where the grassroots of that whole love for BMW like began.
Yeah, and it's not just BMW. So like, there's Audi with Astralis, sponsored
I didn't
by
know
Audi.
that, but that's cool.
Yes. There's Honda, who are Team Liquid. They were Team Liquid.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that either. Wow, that's a
And
lot. That's
is there any
crazy
more? I'm
hustle.
trying to think. Oh, there's Toyota. Toyota's also just done like, I think general activations with ESL or like tournament organizers somewhere. So let me
Yeah,
just.
I think I remember I saw a few years ago on an IEM that I saw Toyota was a part of it. One of the IEMs that ESL set up. Was
It
Toyota for
does.
Legacy? I don't think Toyota sponsors Legacy. Maybe like through their AFL connections, there might be like a
Yeah.
tip here and there, but I don't think it's anything in particular.
Yeah, so this is the Astralis with.
But it also, I guess, it changes BMW's like, yeah, demographic of being like the elderly, elderly person car that you buy when you middle age. Into like, look at all the flashy new BMWs being made.
Well, yeah. I mean, if anybody actually keeps track on cars and BMW, you'll know for a fact that their whole style nowadays is definitely for the sake of modernizing. It's definitely pushing
Oh yeah, it's
to adapt.
changed a lot.
It's definitely gone from the old BMW, like this is like a family, like a little older car. Maybe you're looking at retirement.
Yeah.
To 25-year-olds, we want you to buy our car. Look at the cool crap we can put in it.
Well, their 8 Series, it's a $300,000 car. Like, it's insane.
It is crazy.
Like they've made that car for a reason. Like, it's I don't know, maybe they gave one to Cloud9, who knows?
Oh, I would not be surprised.
They're gonna have
all.
like decked out, M5s, everything.
And I mean, it's
Rocking
not
up
the
to
first.
LCS.
It's definitely not the first time we've seen vehicles, not like just cars, but vehicles in general get involved in esports. Like, maybe not directly like through a sponsorship, but the one thing that I keep thinking of when I think of cars or vehicles in general in esports is the HP Bioman truck.
Oh yeah.
Which is just a great, like if you've ever been in it, it is insanely decked out. It is huge, and it's like walking into what's the TV Doctor Who's giant like phone booth. How it's
TARDIS.
bigger on the inside.
The
The
TARDIS.
TARDIS, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like walking into that, and it's just wow. There's flashing lights everywhere, and I don't know what I'm looking at, but it looks crazy.
Trying to
So
show you guys a picture. Yeah, because it was at MEO.
it's a MEO. It's been at PAX.
Yeah, it's just a massive
it's
truck with
everywhere.
like a full gaming rig in the back.
It is a crazy full gaming rig in there. Like I've been in it a few times, and it blows me away.
God.
It blows me away. It is immense.
Jesus.
Going past that thing at PAX just makes me shudder. Just like how much money is in there right now, like at core value.
Well, if you've got to ask, you can't afford it.
Exactly right.
Well, what else has been going on in the Twitch community recently? Have you guys been keeping your eye on anything in streaming?
Well, I noticed just the other day, Jahlynz, the Fortnite player, got a host from Tfue. That was pretty cool to look at. Because I follow him on Twitch, so I noticed when I opened up Twitch that he had like 60,000 viewers, and I was like, I don't think that's supposed to be how that works. He's a tiny little streamer. But I mean, other than that, that's pretty much the only thing I've noticed.
That was pretty crazy.
Where is
Imagine getting
Unbound's
hosted by
beautiful
Tfue,
face
like,
at?
or a massive streamer. How, like, what do you even do? You just sit there
Exactly.
stunned. Like,
You just sit there?
I don't know what you do.
I remember when I got back into streaming for a little bit, one of my first streams I got hosted by a Rocket League player who's like really small and in the ANZ scene. I think it was Cobbo. And he had like 25 viewers, and I still sat there. I was like, there's 25 people watching me. I'm so scared right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the mistake.
There's so much pressure. What do I do?
Exactly. I was only really new to streaming. I realized that people aren't like watching for the sake of you not making a mistake. It's just because they enjoy like supporting people.
There's a clip. I haven't seen this clip yet.
I can't imagine looking at your because obviously you glance over and you look at your stats and like you watch your streams and all that stuff to make sure everything's running fine. So I can't imagine playing the game and then looking to the right, seeing like, oh, maybe 4 or 5, then looking back, doing something in the game, looking back again and seeing 60,000. Like,
let's see what happens in this clip.
Yeah,
that would terrify me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I just got a Tfue hose, cunt, I think.
The fuck?
Wait, hold up. What the fuck, dude? I just got a Tfue host. Holy shit, dude.
It's freaking out.
I'd probably have a heart attack, like straight up.
I don't even know what to say, bro.
Have a heart attack.
I
TPU
can't imagine it.
maniac.
It would
No.
scare the living crap out of me.
Bruh.
Flatline
You're
asked,
blowing
where
up
is
today?
Unbound's
Right.
beautiful face at? Well, if you had to ask, I can't afford it. I can't afford to put my beautiful face there, and that's exactly why.
Or
We'll have to get him a cam soon.
maybe we can't afford Unbound's face. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe it's I need compensation.
Coming soon.
Sort of like Kanye West walking in the building like I got $500,000 just for being here.
just to walk in. I
I'd
guess
love
the other thing that I've noticed is like that kicked off a few weeks ago was the Grassroots program for ANZ for Twitch. That's been really, really good at getting streamers noticed from down here, putting them on that front page, getting them exposed, getting, helping them. It's good. I think they've needed something like that because it's obviously Twitch is heavily saturated these days, but it is good to see that people from other countries outside of the US and, the bigger European countries get some support. So yeah, it's been really good.
It has been really good. There is one thing I did notice. Maybe not especially recent, but the whole Apex Twitch ANZ challenge thing that was going on with streamers. I don't know too much about it, but I saw
Well, it
it as
happened today, so I think it just finished.
Oh, is it happening today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Tried to have a look at scores, but I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but this is what it was.
Yeah.
These are the streamers that were playing. Hey,
Teams from Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, and OCE are taking part.
Yeah.
One kill,
Flow,
point.
Kiki.
That's crazy.
A lot of names I know. It's cool. It's great when they have like a new game like this and automatically Twitch is already on top of it, trying to get streamers involved and yeah.
Yeah.
It's
See, it's especially nice because they actually, I feel like it's refreshing and a little on purposefully undersaturating the esports scene. Apex Legends does not have a massive esports, it's still very new. It's still developing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them kind of stick away from getting doing a Twitch thing with professional teams or professional players or pushing for a tournament.
Yeah, and it's also
just
good
streamers.
to see that they're not they're remembering ANZ and they're giving us a chance to show off our streamers and
exactly. And that part is always going to be great for us. But it's just I'm just really happy with the fact that they're sticking away from doing like a massive esports tournament. They're just going people who enjoy playing the game because they enjoy playing games. We need to promote them.
Yeah,
and it's really nice. It's really refreshing.
I think they'll get tournaments eventually, but it's probably down the track once
it's going to be long down the track.
Yeah, once the developer gets everything sorted.
Like Fortnite. For Fortnite, we're still waiting on some massive things to happen.
Well, the World Cup's happening now, which is massive, but Fortnite still are trying to figure out how to do esports.
Yeah, it's there's still no.
Even the servers,
they're not great. There's no regulation. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go, especially after watching PUBG.
The point system, the balance
personally,
issues, everything's a bit.
I guess,
it's a little off.
Battle Royales are hard because of the player base, or the player limit sort of thing.
Well, I mean, Battle Royales in particular are especially hard to get an esports scene off the ground because their lifespan is so short. Like, people get bored of Battle Royales at the moment the next Battle Royale comes out. It doesn't even have to be incredibly good.
I think the nature of the game in general doesn't make a good viewing experience. So when you think about what a BR is, it's like you start with 100 people. There's action going on across the whole map. So if you're a viewer, you can't watch everything. You're gonna miss stuff. So that's just not good. If your favorite player is on one part of the map and you want to watch him, and the cameraman's following some random, that's not fun. And then at the end, Fortnite's crazy. There's shit going on all over the place. You can barely tell what's happening. There's nameplates.
There's building everywhere.
The whole screen is just nameplates, and then it's building and once you get down to the final 10, you can definitely see a lot of skill, but
it's more a lot
totally
of who can blow up stuff the quickest at the end of.
It's totally different,
especially the pro scrims.
Yeah, it's totally different to CS where you can tell where the action's going to be and you can go directly to that player's point of view and see really sick plays.
Yeah.
There's only 10 people in the server. Most of them are just holding an angle, so you don't that's kind of boring, and you can see where the action's going to be. But with Fortnite, there's just so much going on where and that's same with PUBG, same with all the other BRs. It's just impossible, I think, to make it a really crisp viewing experience. So they're kind of getting better. Where I watched the last tournament, I think it was like in Katowice, the ESL one, and they did a lot of replays, which was great because I'm assuming that they've got a lot of different observers who are like watching different areas, and then when something cool happens that the mainstream missed, they get a replay of that, and then they show it like 30 seconds later. Oh, this just happened. Like this guy killed him, and this is how it happened. That's what you need to do to make this viewable. Is do a lot
100%.
of replays so that
you need to be able to quickly cover the content that everyone misses.
Yeah.
And there's no way to cover all that content only one big go. Like having there's especially in PUBG, there's 4 people on a team, and there's a maximum of 100 people. That's 25 teams, and
it's too much to watch at one time.
Just too much. Like Bouncy just said in the stream chat just there, for tournaments in PUBG, they had streams for each individual team that you could watch, but it became too much. They realized, and it was unrealistic. And that's completely 100% what would happen every time if they tried to cover all the content in one go. You need to have observers watching the teams. You can't stream all of the teams all at once because as they tried, it's just too unrealistic. But you need to have people there like watching the team so that they can go, oh, that was cool, that just happened, or that was a play.
Well, it needs to be built from in-game, I think. So I think that the developer needs to input a viewing system where you can log in game and go to your favorite player and just you watch in game, and it maybe it ticks as a viewer on the stream or something. But I mean, CS does that with HLTV. Overwatch does that now, where you can buy like their premium pass, and it gives you can go to a certain player's perspective and just watch that player. So
I saw that.
Yeah, that's
for the
amazing.
Overwatch
That's
League?
what you need to do to Fortnite to make it like if you're only a fan of one team, that you can only watch them the whole time.
Yeah.
And maybe you can input like that you have a certain chat where like all those people that are watching that player have a different chat, so you can just talk amongst yourselves or something like.
It's almost sort of like segregated viewing chat rooms more than it is
like
everything.
Twitch
But
and ESL and the viewers are limited. They can't go into the game and input those systems. That has to come from Epic.
Yeah, it's all about watchability and maximizing the most important parts of that watchability.
Yeah.
So,
but like also when you think about like the grand scheme of Fortnite, Epic in my opinion, don't really care that much about esports because they make so much money off, casual players where they don't want to focus too much on it, but they can't ignore it. So you just, if you have $100 million and you just throw it at esports, you're going to have the biggest game, obviously, because no other game does that. So even if it's not the best viewing experience, it's not polished, it's not balanced, there's all these issues with it. If you throw enough money at it, it doesn't matter. People will still play, and that's what's happening now. Like,
and people will still play just for the sake of being good, not even because they enjoy it.
When you got that much money. But I mean, hopefully that they have some people dedicated to making it better, which I think they're doing, because you can see like every tournament that comes up, it's getting better and better with how they're communicating with the community and extra things that they're doing with the streams and in-game balancing, and just I do think that they're going forward, not backwards, which is important. So it might take even a year, 2 years to get it to that point where we're imagining, where it's actually really great to watch, but they're not. I don't think they're there yet. But hopefully, like they can put enough resources into it to keep it rolling, so that other games like Apex don't, I guess, overtake and kill Fortnite. Like I don't think Fortnite will ever die.
I feel like it's gonna die. I feel like it will die eventually, but I don't think it's gonna die.
Like who knows, man? Like everyone.
It was just massive. I gotta admit, it was a global phenomenon, which is just crazy. It's a little unsettling to me, with my background being a game developer myself. Seeing them have this kind of reception to their game where they've got literally hundreds of millions of players, and then they make hundreds of millions of dollars off it, to the point where they can waste $100 million on tournament prize money. And then seeing them do it, evidently they've done things, but they haven't really, I feel like they've kind of got swept under the rug almost immediately after doing them. And you just don't see anything. And there's just no regulation. There's no setup. There's no actual like easy access way for somebody to go who doesn't understand games, who doesn't understand esports, doesn't understand Fortnite, just wants to support their kid. Go in and be like, oh, I can see what they're doing. I understand. There's no like easy readability to Fortnite, in my opinion.
Mm.
Well, I mean, and they were kind of dropping the ball when they didn't have any competition. Like before Apex came out, they were the biggest game in the world. There was no one that was even close. So, you know,
And
they
they thought
just
they were going to be like that forever.
yeah. And then as soon as
Yeah.
Apex came out, they were like, update, update, update. Let's fix this. Let's fix this. Let's bring out new cosmetics. Like they did everything so quickly because of the pressure of Apex just like
And they made
overtaking.
errors. Like they broke stuff because of the
Yeah.
rapid
In
at
fact,
the
they made,
rapidness that they were putting things out.
Yeah.
They just broke it. Yeah.
and even if they didn't break it, they also just made poor decisions. Like putting that giant sword in the game decimated. I mean, it was a nice, like, cool idea, and like doing all of it could have been really cool, but like it decimated the esports scene. It was removed from competitive play almost immediately. Like,
Mm.
it's decisions like that where you kind of have to take a step back and be like, yes, they've got crazy amounts of money. Yes, their game has been exceptionally successful. But realistically, what games has Unreal made? They've made Unreal Engine 4, which is a massive success. They made Unreal Tournament, and they made Arc. Arc does not have a great credibility rating
Yeah.
by any means.
Ooh, not at all.
So, thoughts
Just,
regarding Epic and all that stuff, it's mixed, but go ahead.
No, you're right. Just touching on like the getting into esports and everything. Leopard Prince got a question about advice, and this is probably more focused at used to about how to enter the esports scene, whether as a competitor or admin or social media, etc.
That's a good question.
You guys,
I guess
That is a
I'll-
good question.
Um,
Well, let me start off
Okay,
because
sure.
Chris probably has the most wealth of knowledge in regards to starting in the esports scene. I mean, he started Jam 3.5 years ago, and I've never started an organization. Like, I've never made a business from scratch, and I can't imagine how hard it would have been those first couple of years to sort of get it up and running. But if you want to enter the esports scene either as a competitor, well, I can give you, competitor is just going to require just insane amounts of effort and practice and the dedication, and it's extremely saturated. Players, it depends on the game, but it's pretty saturated to try and become a player. As an admin, it kind of depends on the branch that you want to go into. Like you said, social media. Social media managers are welcome pretty much everywhere. You could probably go up to an organization and say, I don't have experience doing social media, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm really essentially willing to dedicate yourself to it for a little bit. And no organization in their right mind, as long as you're not expecting crazy amounts of like benefits or rewards in return, they're probably not going to tell you no. It gets a little like shiftier when you get into, not shiftier, but like harder when you're getting into like marketing and like all of the more brand dependent, like specifically the brand dependent sections of esports, like, you know, marketing or just anything really, brand management, video, to like anything with creation. It all has to kind of work together. But
I'll tell you my opinion on this, Leopard. So, just get involved, basically. Just put yourself
100%,
out
just-
there. You definitely have to be on Twitter. You have to be on Discord. You have to be talking to people. So whether it's getting involved in a team or playing or tournaments, you have to find out where those hubs are. So if it's playing, find out the teams, your favorite team's Discord, and just go and chat to people. Like, be respectful, and just try and be a positive member of the community. Don't be toxic. Don't be, that guy who everyone hates. You're not going to get anywhere. Just
exactly.
put yourself out there and try and find out what area you want to go into. Because if you just want to say, I want to work in esports, well, there's a lot of different jobs that are available. Management, you can go playing, you can go like accounting, lawyers, like this, anything pretty much. And there's even uni courses that are popping up now for esports. I saw one the other day that was for esports law in Queensland. So
I
there's-
saw that the other day too.
there's a bunch of avenues, but the main thing is you need to get involved and put yourself out there and get your name recognized, and try and make connections, try to go to events, meet people in person. That always helps. And yeah, once you figure out where your place is, then you can kind of ask for advice. If you want to be a manager, just go to people you look up to and DM them. And most people are very nice and humbled, and they'll just give you advice of, how to get started or where to look at.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
So, get involved, find your niche, and then ask for help. Pretty much is my advice.
Yeah. Just to finish it all off and round it out just for this question, personally, my advice is to act the part before actually having the part. So say you want to be a part of an organization's community. Well, you have to actively be a part of the community in order to be recognized as part of the community. If you want to be a manager, you have to sort of act within your boundaries the way you would want to go about being that manager. Like, try to promote the core values to the organization in a community standpoint, support them, show them exactly what you can do, and then showcase exactly your skills and where you're really good at, and then go to the org and say, I have these skills, this is what I did, let me learn from you guys. Don't try to come in and be like, I know what I've done, I've got all these skills, I've got them, I've showcased them here, I know what I'm doing, sort of thing. You can always learn.
Yeah, I mean,
Always.
I think honestly the biggest thing, because it's still quite a grassroots community, esports, not a lot of people in Australia are actually getting paid, or even making money. So it's very community focused and volunteer based. So, and no one's gonna know that you're interested in doing things unless you get involved and ask and talk to people. You need to get on Twitter, get on Discord.
You definitely can't
chat.
Yeah. You definitely can't sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, you can't just lurk, because then no one's going to know you're around. And that goes for everyone really. Players, managers.
Yep.
It is
You
entertainment.
need to make yourself.
And a big part of our region is trying to maximize our value to brands in overall, and that means interaction and eyeballs and focusing on community spirit, and a part of that is developing positive relationships. And we always appreciate the lurkers. Shout out to all the lurkers. But even if you just hit retweet on something that you like, or hit like, or just say hello in a Discord, that has such a massive effect, because it shows other people that, oh yeah, I am a part of this community. People are around, they're listening to me, and what I say matters. And try and always be positive, like I said, because that's.
I'm just going to quickly address this question, just to go back onto the Fortnite stuff. The Monkey Boy asked, does Fortnite have to be an esport?
I saw that question. I really wanted to talk about that too. I'm glad you
First of all, that is an exceptionally good question, because now we get branching into the sector of, do games have to have an esport, or is it a wasted sort of venture, sort of business, capitalist venture?
And what do you think, KB?
I guess for me, it comes down to a point of whatever just happened to playing games for the fun of playing games, without it having to be something else. Just because it is a battle royale or a squad game or something like that, why can't it just be what it is? Why does it have to be something else? People like playing it for what it is, and as you guys said before, making it into an esport is extremely difficult because of so many variables. It's one of those things. It's not a team-based game in the traditional sense of 5-on-5 or 6-on-6 or whatever. And I don't know.
What do you think, Josh,
I think
on this topic?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I think
I've got a lot to say, so I'm just waiting for you guys.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. It's a very interesting question, first and foremost, because KB's right. Whatever happened to just playing a game for the sake of playing a game? It boils over into a whole heap of different topics. People don't go to internet cafes for the sake of just playing games anymore. It all kind of comes all together. But to circle around to the question, does Fortnite have to be an esport? I actually don't think so. I don't think that Fortnite I think they went about it the wrong sort of way. I don't think they needed to dive headfirst into the esports, going around screaming, "We have $100 million in prize pool money that we're segregating just purely and only for Fortnite like tournament rewards." And I would like to see them do more in terms of building their esports. Now that they've done all of that, they've already gone around and said we're doing all this stuff for our esports. But I don't think it needs to be an esport. I don't think battle royale in general is a good topic or like congregated genre for esports. The lifespan of the games is just too short. Games happen too long. There's too many, like, unless we change the whole idea of going into a circle and then that circle getting progressively slower and slower until everyone's kind of clumped together in this mass mitosis cell of people, it's just not a good, healthy way to play an esports game.
No. And just before Chris goes, the last thing that I wanted to say was that like I've played in a couple of COD blackout tournaments and they were just a mess, like an absolute schmozzle of waiting for other teams to finish, waiting, and it went on for hours, like absolute hours, and you just didn't want to play it anymore because it was just
So does Fortnite need to become an esport? So let's just talk about like, do games in general need to become esports without bringing Fortnite into it? So like, esports is basically just stuff like if you're a gamer, you want to take it to the next level. You want to be competitive. You want to see if you're the best, right? That's how esports came about. It's been around for over 20 years. So, and back then, like no one was salaried. People were just playing tournaments because they love playing tournaments, and that's how it came about. And still these days, that'll happen. That'll happen whether the developer likes it or not. Now, some developers can push against it. So look at Nintendo, for example. They, actively like strike content creators from putting their Nintendo games on YouTube and stuff like that. They do not support the esports scene at all.
No, they don't.
And you can look at it another.
Well, they don't. I mean, just sorry to interrupt. I think Nintendo is a special case because I don't think it's that they don't support esports. I think it's that they don't support esports that they can't stay in control of.
But they can if they want to. Like, that's what I'm saying.
They should be able to, but I feel like they aren't confident in their ability to stay on top of it all.
So Riot was the founder, right? They were the first ones to realize that this esports has a very strong marketing power, and they lost money on esports for a long time, and they probably still do. But they, I think, are smart enough to realize that by creating something that will outlast your game or will make your game last a lot longer, you are in the end creating a lot more revenue through more people just playing for longer. So that's why I think every developer, esports is the buzzword, because they want their game to last and they want more people to just play longer. And if having a competitive scene that will last for 5 years is that mechanism to do that, then you're going to support the esports scene of your game. Now, like some developers force that, so most of them these days do, right? And it doesn't work out because it also comes back to the players. So if your game is not something where the players like playing competitively or they don't want to play competitively, unless you throw so much money at it where they'll just do it anyway, it's not going to happen. So that's, does it need to be an esports? No, but do they want it to be esports? Do they want Fortnite to be esport? Yes, because they're using it as another way to market. And they've got enough money where they can just throw money into tournaments and it'll be an esport. But is it the best one? In my opinion, no. Some people will disagree with me. A lot of people watch it still. Even the last tournaments have tens of thousands of people watching. So it's proven that, you also need the viewers there to make it viable long term. So it's showing that there's interest in it. And that'll happen with different games as well. More games will come up. Maybe the developers aren't thinking about esports at all, but the community will want it to happen so badly that they'll make their own tournaments. ESL will go and host everything, as long as the developer will allow that to happen. But at the end of the day, the developer owns all the rights. So they can stop anything. And this is where esports is different to traditional sports, because no one owns basketball. No one owns soccer.
Well, let me just interrupt really quickly just to clarify for you. I think you might be a little confused on the whole developer owns everything part. I have experience working with a company. I'm not going to disclose who they are. When I was working in game dev as a programmer, it's very, very common for publishers to take rights to the IP. And not that I can speak for Nintendo. I know they're probably a lot more safely set up than the small indie company I was working with.
Yeah,
but
and I hear what you're saying.
It is a lot more common than a lot of people think, where game developers, after the game is released, after all the marketing is done, all the publishing is done, it is a lot more common for the developers to actually lose the access to their game, in any sense of the word, minus doing updates and content
when I said developer, I mean just not the organizers, not the players.
Okay.
So like the publisher and or the developer. So whoever owns the game, right?
Yeah, no, I get you.
Whoever owns the IP can stop any tournaments.
They should logically be able to. Yeah, should definitely be able to.
They're not going to, but it's possible, right? And but there's lots of different ways that you can run an esports scene from a developer perspective. You can take like a hands-off approach, like Counter-Strike, until very recently.
I feel like that's actually
esports at all. They just kind of they release updates every now and then. They release new skins. They just let all the third-party organizers do whatever they want. And then they do have like their own majors where they come in and they put in like $1 million or however much it is, and they kind of run that, but it's still run third-party.
Yeah, that was a real organic evolution with CS in esports. Like that just happened. Like that, no one forced it. It just appeared one day. Well,
it appeared a very long time ago. Like back way before 1.6, there was still tournaments. Like it just wasn't. They weren't being played for $1 million, but there were still people playing CS tournaments in little school halls back in the year 2000. Before that. So it's just a different scale now, and that means that more people are looking at different models of how to make it work. And whether you're a hands-on developer or like you want to own everything, like Blizzard, for example, they literally run everything. They want everything to run how they want to run it. So they do their own tournaments. They set up their own studios. They even tell the teams how they have to brand. So they're in control of literally everything.
See, that's a little, in my opinion, that's massively overstepping the margin. In my experience, when you get to games, it's like you need, as a game developer, you want to see an esports scene develop for your competitive game. But, and this is where I feel like a lot of developers sort of fall off, it's you need to have a good game first in order to have a successful esports scene. Which is it's pretty no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
But it's pretty straightforward. But I feel like a lot of developers nowadays are sort of overstepping that and kind of skipping that step. They're focusing less on making a working, functional game that has the support to enable esports, and then letting like the third-party people run and do whatever they want. And instead, they're focusing on pretty much building for esports. They're just skipping the essential first step. And I feel like that's where a lot of, I'm scared that's where game development is going to go. Because I don't want that. I don't think a lot of people would want that.
Now we barely get finished games, so,
Yeah. Like AAA, these quote-unquote AAA development games are just nowhere near the caliber that AAA used to be at. They're just not.
I think Apex is like the prime example of how good it can be when you get it all right.
100%.
They spent like that game just exploded instantly, and it's a combination of working hard behind the scenes before anything was announced. They worked with pro gamers like Shroud and BR gamers privately, making sure that everything was how they would do it, like fixing bugs and so that they kind of get a good feel for how they want their game to be before it's even announced. And then the biggest shock for me was when they announced it, they said, oh, by the way, you can play it right now. It's not like you got to wait 6 months. You literally can play it right now. And then they already had lined up all the biggest influencers. And the
and I remember
team was just like, that was revolutionary in my opinion.
I remember when I first heard of Apex is because Shroud and Dr. Disrespect did some sleuthy marketing, said we're going here, but we're not allowed to tell you what it's all about.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly. Like it was
And
kind of teased for months. Like people knew that it was happening.
it was coming.
but
Something
there
was
was no
coming. They knew
details.
something
Like
was
no one knew
happening.
anything about, the guns or the the
They pretty much
players
knew
or
nothing
anything.
No, it was all
until
hush hush.
it was all very hushed and very silent until the three streamers. I think it was Shroud, Dr. Disrespect. I think it was Justin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Justin. Until they went live went public with it, nothing was released.
Yeah.
It was very on the down low.
And there was no
And I
server
mean-
issues on the day, really.
It has been.
In
I have
Australia
to
there
give-
is, but I mean in the US and
Yeah.
Europe, I don't think no one was really complaining about that.
It's
Um,
been pretty good since they launched it. Like consistently across the board from a networking perspective, it's been pretty.
And when you
good.
consider that it's a free game, so anyone can log on and download it
Yeah.
and play, like your servers have to have
that
such a
part is
massive
important.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really impressed with how they released that game in general and how polished it was, from day one, and that's a big reason why it took off. Because can you imagine if it wasn't a good game, it wasn't finished, or there was lots of
Yeah.
bugs, and they still did this massive marketing campaign? It would have fell off because people would have played and realized this is a shit game, and they would never play again. And
I think it's the one time where the developer team, like from Respawn, like they're a good team. They're a good bunch of guys. They make good games. I think it's the one time they've had some pull with a publisher like EA to go, just give us time to do something and we promise it'll pay off.
Yeah.
And
maybe this is a wake up call for EA to stay the fuck away from the game, and your game will be successful.
Cough, Anthem, cough.
Man, I wish Anthem was successful.
Bouncy
I
just said in the
really-
chat that EA paid Ninja $1 million to stream Apex. That's true. I mean, I saw that article as well.
Yeah.
I
guess
just found it not that long ago, and I put it somewhere.
I will look
and
it up, but it is true.
If that is it true? Is it?
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
They-
And to be honest,
at
that's
one
cheap.
point-
I think that's too
yeah.
cheap.
At one
No,
point,
you think that's
they,
too cheap?
Yes.
Neither
I think
parties
it's-
were going to disclose the amount, like they were asked a couple of weeks ago, and neither party commented. But it's interesting to know that was the figure.
I think. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's cheap. Being paid $1 million just to play a game, like I'm sure there's a contract in there. I don't know the extent of it, but just if there was no cap on. You need to play it like this amount of times per week or
Sure, he
this
had a
amount of hours
contract,
per
right?
day. Yeah.
And you know what? He was
But-
even sick. He was sick for like 3 days of the release, and he still got paid. He still tweeted about it. He still put #ad in his tweet from his bed,
Yeah.
saying, "I'm too sick, but I wish I was playing Apex." #ad. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's because he was
Ninja's the biggest gamer in the world.
Contractually
He is
binding.
worth
Obligated
way
to
more.
do
That's
so.
cheap. That's 100% cheap. EA got a great
What
deal
kind
for
of if it's cheap, what kind of money do you think he would have needed to be paid
that.
to
EA,
make it?
let's
not
say,
cheap?
like he would have been paid as much as EA were willing to pay him. They would have probably paid him way more than that. If he had said
So you
no,
think Ninja could have turned around and said, no, I want $5 million.
yes, and I think they would have done
Probably.
it.
Yeah.
Because right then, if Ninja doesn't get in to Apex, then maybe other streamers don't do it either. Like eventually there'll be a point where someone will say yes, but if you don't get all the top players, like they got every single top streamer,
They did.
So,
I remember on the launch day when Apex Legends came out, it was just monumental.
But EA
on
knew
Twitch.
exactly what they were doing. They knew that they're going to put their marketing team probably sat down and say, we've got a massive budget. Our entire budget, or most of it, is going to be spent on influencers. We're going to get every single top influencer, no matter what the cost. We need to get all of them because we need to get everyone raving about this game, and whatever it
We
takes.
need to make
just do it.
they forced a trend. They made a trend.
They
So,
did, because
yeah.
I looked at it at one point on launch day, and I think there was 450,000 viewers
Yeah.
at one point just across the entire category for Apex. Like, that's insane.
huge. I mean,
That's the population of Canberra. Like
that is
massive.
all watching a culmination of different gamers. And I remember when the launch day happened, I went. It's the only time I've ever seen Shroud over 100,000 viewers for more than like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He had 150, nearly 200,000 viewers for like 6 hours straight.
Yep. that's almost double the popular,
which is
the MCG capacity. Like
just
that's respectful.
And you
that
think,
is just
like,
massive.
just think grand scheme of things, right? Now, Shroud and all the big stream, or some of them, are still playing Apex, and their contracts have ended, so they're still playing it. So
It's a good game.
yeah, that's the thing.
It's a
Like, you gotta
game.
make it a good game first, and then
Yeah.
through extras, through the correct marketing and the correct launch, that you can turn it into the biggest game in the world, which is what they did. So congrats to
I
them.
think, unfortunately, though, just a little downside to it. The only sad part is that it took copious and copious and copious amounts of money to get that sort of pedigree going. Which, I mean, if you've got it, awesome, go ahead by all means. But it is a little sad to see where it's kind of gone to the point where we have to pay people to promote our game instead of just making a good game and
Rather than
having people
that natural
enjoying
progression
it.
again of
Yeah.
Like it is sad. It's a little bittersweet more than it is sad. Like it's on the line of gaming has come conglomerate and it's gone commercial.
Well, it's because it's so big. You just
It is.
you have
It's
to
just
invest
massive.
money to pierce through.
It's
like,
not.
the
It's not
current
like.
levels of
Yeah.
streaming and marketing. So like
It's
before
not like
Twitch
we're
was
sitting
around,
down playing
yeah,
Conker's
exactly.
Bad Fur Day anymore. You know.
Oh man, I wish I was playing Conker's Bad Fur.
I think we all wish we were playing Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Like before streaming was around, there weren't hundreds of thousands of people watching influencers play
No, they weren't.
whatever game that they enjoyed playing. So you didn't have to spend that much money to put your game out into the space. But in the same token, there weren't that many gamers back then as well. So
it's definitely going through some
there's
exponential
bigger
growth.
payoff now as well. For they're definitely making money off it, obviously. So that's
100%.
That's just kind of how it is. You got.
I dare say the flip side to this is now probably 5 years ago, before streaming was as big as it is and everything like that, they could have probably put 10, 15 million into marketing budgets to promote a game. Now, if they can get away with putting like 5 million into marketing budgets to pay like 5 big streamers $1 million each, they're coming out in front. Like
that's true.
They're halving their costs.
That's exactly why I think Ninja was underpaid.
Yeah.
So
because you can't buy you can't buy promotion, but the amount of exposure, that you get from Ninja and the people that watch him and follow him and Shroud and all of them is.
And the other part, like the whole other part of that is that Ninja has such a demanding reign over the influence of his viewers.
Yeah.
He has just crazy amounts. He could say, Apex Legends is bad and I'm going to go back to Fortnite, and probably at least half of his viewers would take that as like Bible,
gospel,
as just God sent, and go, "You're right. Apex is bad. Back to Fortnite." And it just like that's just the state and the strength of influencers nowadays.
I want to talk about something else on this topic actually that I just sort of, which is kind of related to influencers taking marketing deals like this. So, like, the way it works at the top is that everyone wants to get that $1 million deal. Everyone wants to get the big deals. But, if you're on that same level, you're all fighting for it. Let's say that there's 5 streamers who are in line for this $1 million deal, but they're only going to give it to one of them. Well, if you're EA and you contact all 5, and then one of them will take that deal for 900K, you're going to give it to them. So the other 4 miss out. So what happens then is like the market will correct, and the other 4 will say, maybe I'll take 800K, and then like that, and they're all on the same level of streamer. So let's say like Shroud, Ninja, the Doc, and Tfue or whoever else, like they're all similar levels. Then eventually, like the next guy might be like, I can do it for 700. The next one, I'll do it for 600, and then it'll just keep getting cheaper and cheaper. EA is going, cha-ching, cha-ching, money, money, and
our
all
bottom line's looking better and better, boys.
The influencers are the ones that are fighting and not fighting, but like they're competing for these deals that are driving down the values, and EA is the one that maybe they can all of a sudden afford to get more. Like they can then, if they're only paying 500K when they would have paid $1 million, but they get 2, they come out with the same cost. So it's the streamers that are ones that are driving the value down if they're willing to sell out cheaper. So that's why I think that Ninja could have got more if he just said no, but everyone else would also have to say no. If or maybe not. Maybe Ninja is a different case because he's so big that they need him no matter what, and they would have paid 5 million.
I think if you get him on board because of what he did to Fortnite, like skyrocketing that into.
But let's just look at, let's say every single top streamer said, nah, I don't really like Apex that much. It's not the best game. Like, my audience isn't really going to like that. I'm not going to take them. I don't need $1 million. Like, I'll make that in a month anyway.
Yeah.
Then EA will be like, what about 5 million? And then it'll be like, maybe, yeah. Then there's a number where all the streamers will probably play it, maybe.
And it becomes appealing.
Yeah, the streamers need to be the ones that drive the value, is what I'm saying.
But I think this is the thing, because everyone's fighting for that viewership. There is no like with the bigger ones, I guess. There, what's the word I'm looking for? Unity.
Yes.
I suppose.
Yeah, like I'm even thinking that streamers, the big streamers, if I was a big streamer, I would be very friendly with my peers if possible, and trying to get like a union going where
that's what I was just going to say, like a streamers union.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, look, don't sell ourselves short, guys. Why are we fighting for this? They're going to pay us all anyway. Like, don't backstab each other. Let's just all set our values, and no one take a deal cheaper than this, and then we all win. But as soon as one of them steps out of line and takes a lower deal, then everyone loses.
Everyone else does.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if there was 5 or 10 of them in a group, they go, "Okay, guys, you've got this game coming out. We will all play it. $1 million each, or none of us play it."
Exactly.
And and it's like, okay, $10 million, sure. Yep, that's fine. No worries. We've got 10 of the biggest streamers in the world on board, ready to play this.
That would be a smart thing to do, and I'm sure I think that eventually this will happen, and you might even see companies that manage the streamers that do that for them, that contact video games and say, we've got a group of the best streamers in the world. These are their rates. If you don't like them, you don't get them. And
I guess that's because everyone's like their own. They're all a sole trader sort of thing, like their own business. There's no,
It's tricky, right? Because you're also competing for audience. So it's like, if you can be that one guy to step out of line and then get that deal, and that gives you like extra audience, then you might turn up ahead. But how's that going to affect your relationship with your other streamers? Is that actually going to make your stream fall in the long run? Like, there's so many things you got to think about with streaming and like managing communities and relationships, that it's I think that with streamers being so young in general, they don't think about that at all. And I
guess that's one of the things that I've noticed with like a lot of the ANZ guys is we've all got each other's backs.
Yeah.
Like, we all support each other. We all help each other.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I do want to take it back to ANZ, because I think it does happen a lot. That, I mean, because the deals here are so few and far between, when it does happen that someone's got a marketing deal going around for real money, everyone's like, well, holy shit, this never happens. So everyone's kind of fighting for it. I think it's a lot more competitive here than it is in other regions, personally. Even though the money's a lot lower.
The mateship here that we have is like is really good. It's amazing. Like,
that's good, and it hopefully will continue like that. So so I mean, I just thought that was interesting. I always like to think about like the business side of things and how all that works, and I guess we'll just see how that develops. So I do want to talk about these other topics that we had before we finish up, maybe 10-15 minutes. So let's just talk a bit about some other esports stuff going on. First one, there's a Call of Duty event in Brisbane. Oh my god, Call of Duty.
Oh my god, Call of Duty, because that's apparently it's still alive. It's still alive and kicking.
And
I was a little surprised about. I'm not
You've got to pay to enter it too.
Oh really? Well, it is a
you got to transfer the money on PayPal to enter.
I didn't know that, but
I did look into that just a little bit.
What's the buy-in?
That being said,
is it a lot?
$50, I think.
Yeah, the buy-in is $50.
Yeah,
for the whole team. But they're pretty open about it. Just transfer this on PayPal. I mean, there's been more. It's not the most professional, but it's definitely an ease of access way to be able to get into the tournament in a sense.
So it's at this LAN cafe. never been here. But...
Is it a link?
Oh, here it is.
I mean, XP Esports is okay. So I've got a friend who actually works with them. He is there. He's the guy who actually set up this entire tournament. And
Okay.
XP Esports was sort of like a LAN cafe turned esports organization, which is interesting to say the least. But they've got a whole heap of different things. They're running this whole massive APAC COD Black Ops 4 thing, which Chris has got up on the screen right now. There's a spectator arena there. It's in this massive LAN thing. It's going to be a nice one. I'm actually going up to Brisbane for the LAN.
So they're collaborating with the uni.
Yep, they're doing it with UQ.
Yeah.
I think it's University of Queensland.
Yep. Who do
esports.
a lot of cool esports.
They do a lot of cool esports.
They have their own center up there too, like in the uni.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. And yeah, Mindfreak's going, which is great because they're the best team in Australia, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, they're running this $7,500 tournament. I think that's the whole prize pool. And you know, I've been keeping in contact with the guy who's running it. We've got some pretty cool teams jumping in on it. There's Icon now, not so Tainted Minds, but Mindfreak is getting in on it. All the top tier competitive Call of Duty organizations are actually turned their focus away from the COD World League and all of the Black Ops 4 that's going to be coming up very, very shortly to focus on this whole tournament, which is really cool. It's really refreshing, especially considering XP went from being a LAN cafe and realized, LAN cafes are very close, sort of like a closed circuit. If it's not making money, as we saw with Level earlier, they kind of falls apart at the seams. And they've seen that that's sort of the worry and branched off and skipped a whole line of people and gone into the whole esports segregation area. And it's really, really interesting to see, but I'm excited.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's move on. Halo on PC.
Oh,
I am
Oh,
so
yeah.
fucking excited for this. This makes me happy in so many different places. Yeah, Halo. Man, it's just bringing it back into the light again, and
moving it back to PC is going to be fun.
I can't
Especially
wait.
one thing that's, I've never actually, this is going to make quite some people angry, but I've never actually played Halo. I've never played it once.
Josh, if we were in a studio right now, I would put my headset down and walk out.
everyone has that exact same
I'm
reaction.
on your side, I'm bound. I was never a Halo player.
I've never played it.
God.
Actually, okay, that's a slight lie. I've played the intro mission to Halo 3 ODST. That was the only game I have ever played of Halo. That's all I played, and I'm still hyped. Like, that's something to think about. I'm still excited because the main reason I love Destiny. I am a massive Destiny fan. I don't like their whole business decisions with DLC and all of that, but that's a completely different topic. But I didn't go into Halo because I went into COD. And then when Destiny came around, I played a crap load of Destiny, played all of it, max slide on Destiny 1, finished all the DLC, done as many things as I could possibly do within the time frame of that game. And now that Halo's coming out, I'm actually a little more hyped about it now than I would have ever been as a teenager because I've never played it. And if it operates a little bit like Destiny, which, they're both by Bungie.
Yeah.
It's going to feel a little bit like Halo, I hope. And that is exciting to me.
It'll be good, especially number 2. Like, number 2 is like almost the granddaddy of online console gaming. Like
yeah, because Halo 2 was like one of the first PS2 games to have that PS2. Xbox. Oh,
Xbox Live.
Yeah. Well, PS2 had their online connection service thing for a very, very small amount of games, but then the Xbox came out, and then the PS3 came out, and now we're here we are. Yeah. So, but there's a few things that you kind of have to think about with Halo coming out. Is this going to be the breeding of a competitive PC Halo scene?
I think so, yeah. I think there's enough hype around it. Enough people.
I think there's enough hype around it. I think
it'll depend on the game. Like we said earlier, it'll really depend on if it's a good game.
We all know one streamer who was very, very big in the Halo 3, so maybe he'll go back to it.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, there's so many things that could happen with this. Obviously there's the worrying about the birth of potentially a PC Halo scene. Are they going to start making PC exclusives for Halo? We're going to see PC spin-off games. There's so many crazy things that can happen with this, given the stature of Halo and how massive it is, and how it has been around for decades now. It has been around for so long.
And I guess that's one of the good pushes with Microsoft and their sort of play anywhere with Xbox and PC, is that hopefully any future Halo titles are play on Xbox or play on PC, like they've done with Sea of Thieves and a few other ones and things like that.
See, like, one thing that's exciting regarding all of that is that we know now that Halo Master Chief on PC is crossplay. You can play it with the people on the consoles. And that is, I mean, I've seen it in Rocket League, obviously. Rocket League has been doing crossplay since its birth, and they've still been working on it. They just brought out their whole Teams thing. It is going to be amazing, I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just
Sea
for
of Thieves
games
has done it, and it's been phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal.
Sea of Thieves, I've got to give, I mean, just to go off on a slight tangent there, I've played a little bit of it, and I thought it was great. I really wanted Atlas to be a lot like that, but
everyone did.
And then it was terrible.
Yeah, oh my god.
Oh well, it happens.
Sea of Thieves is a really good game, and it's actually fun to watch as well. For me, I've never played it, but I've watched a lot of it.
I've played a bit of it, and my friends adore. Like, I can't tell you, my IRL friends, when I've got Facebook open, we have a group chat. Obviously, everyone does, and they only talk about Sea of Thieves.
Yep.
It is crazy. I've never seen it. Like, for a little bit, they they went off on like an anthem theme, and everybody was happy with that. But they're already back on Sea of Thieves. It is wonderful to see. Like, it really is, because Sea of Thieves, Microsoft made game. I'm still salty, and will forever be salty to Microsoft regarding Scalebound, but can't do much about that now.
All right. Well, let's. Yes. What was I saying? Halo. That's good. Let's move on.
Halo's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we'll see when there's a release date and everything. But yeah. This is a big announcement. This next one that I'm very happy to talk about, which is Jake from the Rocket League scene. Joining up with TSM. So this is pretty massive. Another export from ANZ going overseas.
Another massive sort of event happening with that is the fact.
You should probably explain to KB who this is.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, so a slight little bit of backstory, KB. I can explain it probably better than most people.
That's true.
Jake was a core roster of the Chiefs Rocket League team.
Okay.
Not long ago, he retired. He went to university. He's focusing on doing all that stuff. Now he's a coach. We don't know if we're going to see him back in the competitive scene, but nowadays he coaches. He does. I'm part of it. Well, I'm in his Discord for his coaching service, but he does this whole community coaching service where his whole course is completely like decked out on the step by step how to get better at Rocket League, and he is up there really with Yummy Cheeseman as an analyst on the game. He knows the ins and outs. He knows everything about it. It is crazy. And to see him moving, like, this is the second Australian export that we've seen in Rocket League. First there was Drippe, who was also part of the Chiefs team, who got picked up by Evil Geniuses, and now he's moved over and he lives in a Rocket League house with his teammates over in the US somewhere, which is just an amazing, like, incredible experience. I can't imagine.
And I saw Jake said that he's moving to.
And Jake is now going to be moving over there into the TSM, house, which is two of the three other players. There's iIgnite, there's Remco, there's I can't remember the third one for right now. I think it's Metanoris, and all of them are going to be moving in together, and it's just so
amazing to
humbling.
See, it's amazing.
It's so wonderful to see.
Yeah, another export from Australia. Like, these guys put in a lot of work. They were the best Rocket League team in Australia.
100%. They went undefeated
a long time, over a year.
Just a slight little, I guess, Easter egg of information for KB. Chiefs, when Jake was part of the roster, there was Torzos, Jake, and Drippe. They went undefeated at LAN in every single tournament for like nearly 2 years straight.
Bloody hell.
They were unstoppable,
completely dominant. It was crazy.
Great to see that he's. I mean, this is one of the first actual Rocket League coaches internationally. Is that true?
Yeah, there's there's maybe 2 or 3 really respected
Mm.
ones. There's this one. Well, there's Jake. There's, I think it's
But are any
Bregan.
others actually contracted by orgs?
I
'Cause I-
don't think so.
Like
I
I
know.
think Jake is the first actual coach with a
Yeah, I'm
professional
pretty sure
team in
Jake
Rocket
is.
League,
Yeah,
which
I'm pretty
is
sure.
like huge for
Great,
him,
yeah,
and
he
like
is,
he's
yeah,
put
he
in the
is.
work, and like some of the best teams in the world are recognizing that
Yeah.
he's a great coach. Even
So
though he
there
was a
is.
great player, but he was never he didn't win the RLCS, but they're recognizing his skills as a coach, which is
Yeah, they're recognizing the one thing that I'm really proud of them for recognizing above all else is how much effort he has put into learning just about every single detail to the game. There is actually, off the top of my head, I can only think of one other coach person that has been contracted to an organization, and his name is Gregan. He coaches and is an analyst for Splice, the Rocket League team in
right.
Splice.
Yeah.
So apart from him, I can't think of any other coaches that would actually have like org backing and affiliation and contracts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which
well, it's good.
it's amazing to see. It really is.
Hopefully, it's good for the scene in general, so that Rocket League Esports doesn't downtrend. It
Fade
needs to
out.
really uptrend at the moment.
Yeah, it does.
Psyonix needs to pull their finger out of their ass and get some
I've been
items
saying
for
that
the teams and.
For years. I've been saying for, like, you probably know how long I've been saying Psyonix
Yeah.
needs to get out and do, not even just, like, run their own tournaments, but just help the third-party people. Like, give them just a little bit of backing. Just blah, blah, blah. Just step in and try and help. So.
Do you know anything about Rocket League, KB? Have you played it?
I do. Well, I've played it. I enjoy it. That's
yeah,
my
because Rocket
extent.
League, from my opinion, in an esports sense, is pretty much perfect because it's very easy to watch. It's easy to
Yes.
get into at a base level, but very hard to master. And
Yeah.
it's brand safe, so that sponsors can get in and explain it to mums and dads and their CEOs without having to talk about, like, explain League of Legends or explain.
Well, yeah, it's essentially
Fortnite,
just driving
it's
your
so
car to
easy.
kick a ball in a post. Like
Exactly.
soccer.
It's just soccer
It's-
with cars and rockets.
yeah.
Like,
It
it's
is
so
just soccer
easy.
with cars.
And like 2 years ago, it was trending up every year, and Psyonix just really didn't put enough effort into the esports scene. And
Well, it's really disappointing because what happened was, as Chris said, it was trending up, and then Psyonix took all the viewership part off of Twitch. They said, we're going to do all of this on our thing, and we're going to promote it. And then they went back with Twitch, and it's been a very convoluted back and forth kind of road for them. But now they really need to start doing something.
there's
different.
big potential with Rocket League. Like,
There's
if
huge potential
Psyonix
with
can because what they need to do, like orgs at the moment, players are putting more effort into the game, so that they need more support to quit their jobs and play Rocket League full time. That has to come from orgs or from the developer.
Yeah.
Psyonix doesn't want to do that, so the orgs are taking a risk and giving players salaries, hoping that they'll make that return back. But if the orgs can't get that money back through sponsorships themselves, because there's a lot of competition between orgs with sponsors, they're looking to get that extra revenue from the developer through profit sharing with items. That happens with a lot of other games, with Counter-Strike, with Fortnite, with...
I can't tell you just how incredibly supported the entire community has been of putting competitive things for the players in Rocket League.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much room there.
It's just a no-brainer, right? It's easy.
It should be. It logically should be.
Make
100%.
some
It
skins,
should just be.
give the orgs a cut, everyone makes money.
Everyone makes
Yeah.
money. Everyone's happy. Community can support their favorite
and then-
players and teams.
Exactly.
It should
The
make
players
sense,
get more
but they
money,
just
they'll get a
have-
higher salary, the game will grow. And then as it grows, you'll see more interest from non-endemic companies coming in with bigger sponsorships. Players will keep getting more salaries. So that's how the scene will grow.
That's how it should grow. That's
Like,
how it should
That's
grow.
a perfect
Or it-
example, in my opinion, of how an esport should grow, because it starts from the grassroots with players that just want to play competitively, with no support from orgs, no support from the developer. The orgs usually are the first ones to see that there's some marketing value in the players, and then they get it and gives players some compensation for their time and in exchange for marketing value. And then the developer then is also jumping in and giving support to further increase it all, right? So to increase player salaries or to give profit sharing with items, which is the best way to do it, and to help the orgs out so that they're not, they can get more revenue streams.
Yeah.
So that's a great way of like everyone working together, players, orgs, and the developer to grow the game as a whole.
Yeah.
But with Rocket League, the developer's been lagging behind, and that's kind of what's slowed the growth of
Yeah.
Rocket League. And in my opinion,
It's
if
stunted it, for
Psyonix
sure.
had put items in the game a year ago, Rocket League would be much more prominent now.
Can you
and the numbers would
imagine?
be higher.
If you take Rocket League, they've got a crate and key system, right? Can you imagine if they took their crates and said, we're going to make a crate for like a TSM themed crate or like a Reno Vitality
Yeah, there's
themed
so many
crate?
different ways you can do
There's
it.
so many. Aussie in the chat said it not long ago, which is just it could seriously be the best esports for marketing and sponsorships, and he is 100% right. His
agree.
example is also exactly on point. For Renault's only Renault, the car brand, only sponsors Vitality's Rocket League team. They don't sponsor the brand. They don't sponsor Vitality. It is specifically because Rocket League is a car game. Renault is a car brand. There's a correlation there. They can easily jump on it. But the problem is, and I can tell you now, Renault's not stupid. They're probably sitting there waiting for Psyonix to be like, yes, all right, we're going to let organizations have a bit of some stuff in game. We're going to start showing them some stuff, show off sort of their branding in game. And as soon as that would happen, the growth on Rocket League would just be just crazy exponential.
Yeah.
It would just boom. But they just haven't.
We'll see.
No.
They've
Hopefully
just sat.
Psyonix start putting items in the game.
Oh, I wish. Oh, it's been years in the making, and if they start doing it anytime soon, it's not too late. This is the thing. It's not too late for that curve. They haven't missed it, but they're very much cutting it close, for sure. If they don't start making that change and start doing it soon, they're going to add it to the game and be like, but nobody watches anymore. So why do I care?
All right.
Sort of thing. And I'm worried that that's where it's going to go because it has so much potential as a game to just be mainstream. It does. It has so much marketability and sponsorship potential, and they're just not jumping on it.
Well, I think we're ready to wrap up. Is there anything else you guys think we've missed? Anyone in the chat
No.
want to talk about anything before we finish up? I do want to
I
shout
think-
out to the Jam Fortnite team, Giz and,
Oh yeah,
and Zoria, who
100%.
won the Scallywag Cup last night, #1, and I think the second one might even be finished now. It was on tonight.
The
But
duos one was on tonight. Yeah.
yeah, if you don't know, the Scallywag Cup was basically the test tournament that Epic put out to test their payment systems for the World Cup, and it was a $50,000 tournament globally. But I think there's all up probably $5,000 to $10,000 on the line for Australian and New Zealand players. I think it was $1,000 for first and $800 for second to fifth, and then it goes down the line there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good job from those guys, and
Yeah, no, massive shout out to the Jam Fortnite team. You guys winning the Scallywag tournament is definitely a massive hand clap for you guys. It's
There you go.
incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Josh just said the dependent in chat said that they got 15th tonight, so that's still good out of all the teams,
15th.
So.
It's definitely not an easy thing to try and place consistently at the top end, especially not when you're going up against teams like Chiefs, like Justice, all these massive Fortnite teams that are just only getting better and dedicating massive amounts of time to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables.
Well,
So
and with the
many.
World Cup coming up, we're obviously hoping that these boys continue to do really well, and the final will be in New York, so hopefully you'll see me in New York soon.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Aussie asks, has Icons investors been discussed? No, not yet. So I can bring that up. And talk
I
about
don't
it
really
a
have
bit.
too much to say on that. I mean,
No.
Icon. I know about Icon from when I went to uni because when my uni used to work very closely with Icon when they were making our film students would just kind of intern there. But that's the most I know about them.
I
I know
don't know
they're
if that's the same thing. I think Aussie's talking about the rebranding of Tainted Minds to Icon.
Oh, I
assume
mean,
that's what he's talking about.
yeah, that's probably what he's talking about.
It'll be an interesting watch this space I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely a watch this space sort of thing right now. See what happens. If they can take the investorship from Icon and and work with the people that are involved in
Well,
TM
Icon's
to
just a
Icon.
brand. The investors are like they have a lot of investors. I
They
can talk
do.
a little bit about Tainted. I'm a big fan of Tainted. Josh and the team over there. So and Nick, of course.
Of course, Nick.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've known those guys for a number of years back in the day, so it's always great to see them doing well. Yeah, I'm a fan of the rebrand. It'll be sad to see their old logo go because that was a pretty iconic logo in the scene, but it's yeah, I can see why some brands wouldn't really want an alien with a brain sticking out to be next to
I can see
next to
why.
something
It
of
makes
their
sense.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, the rebrand stuff is very clean. The whole graphic layout and design of it is it's very nice. It's very I don't know if you've seen their jerseys. I love their color scheme for their jerseys.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's unique. I wasn't a fan on their jerseys how they changed the Aussie flag to be black and white. I think that you don't mess with flags. If it's like, I get it, like design wise.
It makes sense.
Design wise, it looks better, but in my opinion, if you have to change a country's flag, just don't put it on there.
Just
you
don't
know?
put just don't put the flag on there. It's a little unnecessary, and it's sort of
Just leave
like,
it off.
in the same sense, it's sort of like constricting them to being just ANZ now.
But that's something small. Like overall, I like the branding. I don't really know what they've got planned. Hopefully, we'll see some more announcements about stuff they're going to do with their teams. I assume a lot of it's going to be based around high performance, similar to what you see amongst the top orgs with high performance centers, and they're obviously going to have some kind of center, I would say.
They're
where
definitely
all
going to be
their
building.
players are.
Definitely
to
a
get
watch this
content.
space sort of thing right now.
And maybe they'll enter some new games. They're already in all the big games, so
They're in some. Yeah, I mean, their Rocket League team. They've got their Rocket League team. Tainted Minds has been just a overall extremely successful organization across pretty much just about everything they've touched. So, I mean, it's exciting to see. I probably couldn't have picked a better organization to get bought out by Icon, in my opinion. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm especially excited to see where Icon is going to plant their feet in this Australian scene as a business, because there is a lot of potential there to take their videography and the business of Icon's skills and turn it into something
I don't
productive
think
for
that the
esports.
videography company has anything to do with this. I
don't think they do, but
I think
I think
Tainted
that they
Minds just decided to name that's their new name, Icon. But
I think that no,
the
I mean, it
videography
might be,
company
but
Icon is like not related to this at all. I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, it might be, but I guess if that's the case, then everything I just said is null voided. But if I'm completely wrong, and I mean, somewhere the other business could get in, there's a lot of things that could happen videographically, or if that's a word, in the esports scene in ANZ. There's a lot of room for it. So, yeah.
Cool.
There's always room.
All right, boys. It's been great chatting. I think it was a good first episode, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys again soon. We'll be back every week, guys, to at the same time to check in on what happened that week. Keep you guys up to date with everything ANZ with esports and gaming. Massive thanks to KB and Unbound for joining me. You guys want to shout out your Twitters?
Thanks, Chris.
Anything you want to shout out before we leave?
Shout out to Tfue. Sorry he couldn't make it tonight, boys at work. Shout out to Jam just for being a great place.
Yeah, shout out to the Jam community for all the love and support. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for watching.
We are going to upload this onto YouTube and possibly onto some podcast formats. If you guys want to,
I'll try and get it on Spotify. I'll probably work out some Spotify stuff.
Yeah, follow Jam on Twitter. Join our Discord for sure. Discord.gg/jam. That's where we're all chatting all the time. So that's where you want to be. And yeah, we'll see you guys again next week, hopefully.
And don't forget, #spread the jam.
See you guys.
God.
See ya.